What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well, feeling great, and enjoying freedom. It's a great day to have a great day. Today, I wanted to talk about what you can do if you get to the point in your silver stacking journey where you start to realize you're running out of room for all your silver. We're going to get into it, but really quick, just in case you're new, make sure to subscribe for daily videos, subscribe to my second channel for weekly videos, get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel. Remember, wearing Mykie is cooler than wearing Nike. Come and join us in the Precious Metals VIP Club for giveaways, live streams, deal alerts, and a whole lot more. And of course, make sure to go and get your 6 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. Refer 1 friend by the end of the month, and they're going to give you 10 free random stocks. Refer 3 friends by the end of the month, and they're going to give you all the way up to 15 free shares of Apple. Everything will be linked in the description. So today, I wanted to talk about a couple of different things regarding silver ending up taking up more space than maybe you anticipated, or maybe you've been involved for years and years and years on end, or potentially even decades, multiple decades at this point. Or if you just want to look at it from a hypothetical perspective, maybe you're not there yet, maybe you're not anywhere close. Maybe you're thinking to yourself right now, running out of room for all my silver. Are you kidding me? I just got a friggin' shoebox full of silver. That's it. That's what I wanted to talk about today. So the first thing I wanted to point out, and this is something that I've been mentioning for a couple of years now, if you are at the point or are getting close to the point where you've run out of room or you're running out of room for all your silver, the first thing you need to do in a situation like that is count your blessings and acknowledge the fact that this is a very good problem to have. Imagine that right there. You see at face value, oh yeah, I'm running out of room for all my silver. You know what I hear when I hear that? I hear, I'm running out of room for all this money. That sounds like a good problem to have. So that's the first thing that you're going to want to acknowledge and be conscious of. But on a more serious note, if you're getting to the point where you're running out of room for all your silver, because let's be honest, silver is dirt cheap. I know people like to complain about how the spot price went up quite a bit over the last 2 years and how premiums are out of control, but the fact of the matter is, if you take silver at the highest price point it's been at within the last 2 years, which was about $30, and you take the highest premium on average for low premium silver, which is probably about $5 at the time, grand total stack price $35 roughly, give or take, maybe a little more, maybe a little bit less, doesn't matter. Point I'm trying to make is that even that number right there, dirt cheap for a troy ounce of silver. Some of us at the high point paying close to $35 for an ounce of silver. I mean, if you think that's expensive, go and get an ounce of gold, or an ounce of platinum, or an ounce of palladium, or an ounce of rhodium. I think that's over, like, man, I don't even remember what the price of rhodium is. Isn't it like $10,000, $15,000 a troy ounce or something like that? I don't even know. Point being is that silver, even during the highs, and even with the crazy premiums, I still consider it to be dirt cheap. But it's even better nowadays, with the spot price being down and with the premiums being down a little bit lower. I digress. I don't mean to go off on a tangent there about spot price and premiums. The point I'm trying to get across is that you can very easily get a ridiculous amount of silver. It's difficult piling up large quantities of gold. It's difficult piling up platinum or palladium sky high. It's difficult getting your hands on gold buffaloes and gold eagles and gold maples and stacking them up to the ceiling. That's a very difficult thing to do because each troy ounce costs you close to $2,000. Silver, on the other hand, premium included, nowadays under $30. So for a smaller amount of dollar bills, you can get a much larger amount of silver. And due to that being just reality, we end up with a crazy amount of silver. If you want to put $1,000 into silver and $1,000 into gold, guess what? You're going to have a nice handful of silver right there, and you're only going to have probably like half an ounce of gold. So silver takes up way more room, or it fills up space way quicker than you may or may not realize, or may or may not have expected. So there are a couple of different things you can do. Obviously, there are a lot of different ways you can store your silver and your gold, your precious metals, your valuables. Many of us use a safe or a variety of safes. There are some people out there who don't believe in safes. I personally do believe in safes, and I believe in having multiple safes. But regardless of where or how you store them, if you get to the point where you're running out of room for the silver, one thing you can do, and unfortunately, it might not always make sense, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do, and you got to bite the bullet and do it anyway, even though it might not make perfect sense. You can always convert some of that silver into gold. Convert one form of money into another form of money, rather than retracting and moving back to currency. That's how I like to see it. Now again, it might not make perfect sense. Then again, it might be the greatest decision of your life. It really all depends on what the gold to silver ratio looks like. For example, if the gold to silver ratio were to close in to the point where it was 1 to 40, 1 to 30, 1 to 20, somewhere around there, in my opinion, I think that would be a beautiful time to trade some silver for some gold. Not all of it, not half of it, not most of it, just some of it, and capitalize on that gold to silver ratio, which is constantly fluctuating because both metals move up and down, or sometimes in opposite directions. But what about right now? As I'm filming the video, the gold to silver ratio is closer to 90 to 1. That's pretty far apart. That's actually very far apart. And in my opinion, it makes absolutely zero sense to trade any silver for any gold at this time. In fact, even though this isn't something that I could ever see myself doing, I don't believe I'd ever do this, I think right now, with the gold to silver ratio being as far apart as it is, it would make more sense to trade some gold for silver than it would to trade silver for gold at this time, at this ratio. But just because the ratio might not make sense at this point doesn't necessarily mean that you should refrain from doing so altogether, especially when it comes down to a space issue. If you're just trying to reduce the weight, reduce the bulk of the stack, because let's be honest, even though you might have a relatively even amount of dollar bills spread out throughout the different metals, you're gonna have way more silver than gold. No matter what you do. The only way to have more gold than silver is to just basically not stack silver at all. Silver, it adds up very, very quickly. But if you want to stack gold, or if you're stacking gold on the side, you got to save up for your next piece. And it takes time. Like every time you're able to pick up a new gold coin, assuming that you're going for a troy ounce and up and not going for the fractional stuff, going for slightly larger denominations of gold, like, it takes time. You gotta work your way up to being able to get your hands on that piece of gold. Silver, on the other hand, many of us run to the coin shop and pick up some new silver every week. Some of us twice a week. Every time we get paid. Oh, hey, I got an extra $20, $30. Let me go grab some silver. It's very easy to get your hands on silver. And not only that, it's very easy to get your hands on a large amount of silver in a relatively short amount of time. Especially, and when I say a short amount of time, I'm not exactly talking about like over the course of a week or two. I'm talking about over the course of a year or two even. That's a short period of time. In the grand scheme of things, what's a year? Not a very long time at all. And you can get a pretty intense amount of silver over the course of a year, especially if you cut back on unnecessary spending and maybe pick up an extra, maybe get some overtime or something like that. Do what you need to do to save a little bit more currency, and do what you need to do to make a little bit more currency. You're gonna have more currency to go get some more silver. But regardless of how you store it, regardless of where you store it, regardless of if you bury it in the backyard or you lock it up in a variety of different safes, maybe in different rooms of the house, maybe on different floors of the house, or maybe even in different houses. There's so many different things you could do. Regardless of all that, you can always convert some of that silver into gold. Not to capitalize on the gold to silver ratio, because it might not make sense at that point, but just for the simple fact of reducing the weight, reducing the bulk, without retracting back to the currency. Now, of course, you can retract back to the currency. Maybe if the gold to silver ratio makes absolutely no sense, like where it's at right now, roughly 90-1, would it make more sense to trade your silver back for dollars rather than trade it for gold at this time? That's up to you to decide. I'm not here to answer that question. You ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. My answer is no. I would rather trade it for gold than to go back to dollar bills. That's just me. But there are so many different things you could do, so many different ways you can go about it. And at the end of the day, if you're worried about silver ever becoming an issue when it comes to space, that is, maybe take a slightly more proactive approach and do something ahead of time, such as maybe, even though this isn't something that many of us want to do at this time, maybe begin focusing a little bit more of your attention on gold right now. In my opinion, I think right now silver makes far more sense to be stacking than gold. But if you're concerned about a potential running out of room situation, maybe focus on a little bit more gold at this time. That way, as time goes by, as the weeks, months, years go by, rather than piling up the silver all the way up to the ceiling and then not knowing what to do, or have to worry about, oh, should I sell some of it? Should I trade some of it for gold? What should I do? Rather than doing all that, and rather than your own personal gold to silver ratio being completely out of whack and having way more silver, like almost like an unlimited amount of silver versus just a small pile of gold, rather than going about it that way, if you take the proactive approach and just focus on some gold now to avoid running into a space issue, or should I say, avoid running into a space issue as quickly as you would, just focus on some gold. That's one thing you can do right there. That's a couple of things you could do right there. And when it comes to safes, by the way, I am a believer in safes. I understand some people think having a safe, you know, is like a target or something like that, but I believe in having a safe. And there are people out there who say, oh, I don't need a safe. Good luck getting into my house. I'll be here waiting for you. Sure. If you sit around at home all day, absolutely. I would have the same mindset if I never left my house. But guess what? We have jobs. We have to go to the store. We have families. We have things to do. We can't just sit around acting like we're a 24-hour surveillance camera. It doesn't work that way. You gotta have a way of keeping your property safe when you're not at your property or at where you live. So my answer to that question right there would be a safe. But I do understand that not everybody wants to have a safe. If you are somebody that does in fact want to have a safe, I would personally recommend doing a ton of research. Don't cheap out. It's okay to go the inexpensive route in a lot of areas. Don't cheap out when it comes to a safe. That's something that you're going to want to really focus on. Make sure don't look for cheap. look for value. When it comes to safety and security, always look for value. You could never be too safe. You don't want to cheap out that way. And once you do your research, once you figure out the best way to go, I would recommend figuring out what's the best size safe for you, depending on how much silver you have or how much you plan on having or whatever you think makes the most sense to you. That's my alarm. I set a timer so my video is not too long. These videos can very easily turn into 40-minute pieces. But anyway, figure out what size safe makes the most sense for you. And I would recommend going one size bigger. You don't want to cheap out, and you want to have the mentality where it's almost like go big or go home. In my opinion anyway. What do I know? I'm just documenting my own experiences and my own opinions. But I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic and what you would do or what you have done in the past when it came to running out of room for all your silver. If you guys like today's video, please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, subscribe to my second channel, which is my backup channel for exclusive weekly content. Go and get yourself some DYDSS merchandise to help support the channel in the biggest possible way. Got t-shirts, hoodies, stickers, coffee mugs, and a bunch of different designs, many of which are helping us raise some funds and awareness for different charity organizations, by the way. DYDSS store will be linked in the description. Remember, Mykie is cooler than Nike. Come and join us in the Precious Metals VIP Club, which is where I do giveaways every single month, live streams multiple times a week, deal alerts on silver and gold almost every single day. You can watch all of my videos early and commercial free, and every Saturday morning I post a brand new vlog. VIP Club link in the description. I guarantee you the value exceeds the cost. And of course, last but certainly not least, make sure to go and get your 6 free stocks by downloading Webull and funding your account. Normally it's 2, they bumped it up to 6, so capitalize on that while you can. If you refer 1 friend to the app by the end of the month, they're going to give you 10 free random stocks for the referral. And if you refer 3 friends to the app by the end of the month, they're going to give you all the way up to 15 free shares of Apple. Don't pass up on an opportunity. Webull link in the description. Time is running out. If you don't want the stocks, go and get them anyway. They're free, then just sell them. Congratulations, now you have the cash to go and get you some silver and gold, or maybe a safe, if that's what you want. Webull link in the description. And I want you guys to head on down to the comments and let me know, once again, what are your thoughts on everything shared in today's video? Do you think it's possible that you could ever get to the point where you say to yourself, oh man, I'm actually running out of room for all my silver? And if so, what would you do at that point? Would you buy a bigger safe? Would you trade some for gold? Would you cash out? Would you just stop stacking altogether? Head on down to the comments and let me know anything and everything related to today's video topic. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you tomorrow. Don't you dare stop smiling. Peace.